Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is a modern day Samson, the biblical figure in the Bible, who has long hair. Keith Thurman's physical prowess, like Samson, is derived from his hair. Now, this is great. Keith Thurman is a great spirit. He's a very spiritual brother. Previous video on Keith Thurman, you will see that he reads a lot of books. He plays the pan flute. He's very spiritual, and he's an intellectual, but he still remained in the midst of that knowledge, and comes liberation from that knowledge. He still remained his animalistic instinct of a man, of that prowess, of that testosterone to be alpha male, right? The primitive nature of man, basically the ability where each man thinks he can control the woman, and the woman thinks that she can tame the male. It's a funny world. You'll see some couples and relationships. Now, I don't know how I jumped from that to this, but there's a pattern. Look, Keith Thurman remained his and still holds his physical prowess, and it comes through his hair. It's very Native American like. Now I don't know if you guys know a little bit about spiritualness, but Keith Thurman is that. I mean, he even won in an interview. He talked about music and its frequencies. He reads a lot of books, from philosophy to all these books in the list. He's a guy that can carry a conversation in politics and a lot of things. And I'm pretty sure he can talk a lot about spiritualness, religion, and a lot of things. Keith Thurman is a very smart fellow, but it's going back on his strength. His strength is derived from his hair. Very caveman-like, right? He even got that caveman beard. Keith Thurman is the real deal. KOs for life. One time, all the time, sometime. Keith Thurman is about that. The only thing about Keith Thurman, there's no downside to him. In my next video, the evolution of Keith Thurman, I'm not going to show, it's going to be a compilation of his words, and we see the evolution derived from the fingertips of his soul, which is his voice, and how that voice carries over to his action and his deeds. I'm not going to show highlights of him fighting, because you guys should have on YouTube, if you guys are watching my channel, you should have already seen Keith Thurman's resume. The Bundu fight, the Guerrero fight, the Kayaza fight. You guys should do that on yourself. I'm more or less going to take a different approach and just focus on his words. Now I'm just going to show you words and phrases, but these words and phrases are very important, the ones that I nitpicked. He answers all your questions about who he is in the sport of boxing. Keith Thurman is Samson. He's the modern day Samson. The only way to beat Keith Thurman is to cut off his hair. The hair symbolizes something. Now, I don't mean literally cut off his hair, get some scissors at night and sneak up and cut his hair. That's not what I'm referring to. It refers to something else. I'm not going to elaborate on that. You figure it out. That's the only way to beat Keith Thurman. And you'll find out in the next video why. Keith Thurman is the modern day Samson. He knows it, and the boxing world acknowledges or doesn't. Now, some people will say, well, how can you compare a biblical figure to Keith Thurman? Parables, my brother. Parables. That's all I'm going to say. Keith Thurman is the modern day Samson. Read up on the story. Read up on figuratively, literally what it means. Keith Thurman represents that.